Then they give you lots of
Are we live? Ready? Good afternoon, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Start off the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, the first thing on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Move to approve.
Second. Got a motion, we got a second. All's in favor and saying aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next thing is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Got a motion, we got a second. All's in favor of the agenda. Aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Chris?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Just here to talk about CPR. In the past, the commission has gracefully helped out paying for CPR cards for the staff. I spoke with Sean Root at the Lake Region Ambulance Service. He said he would pay for, or he would cover the cost of the class, and all we'd have to do is cover the cost for the card. So it's a American Heart Association, AHA. The price was like $22, and the class was scheduled for roughly March 17th and 18th. So I was just looking if the commission would be willing to cover the cost of the CPR cards.
What have we done in the past, Chris?
The commission has covered in the past. We've covered those in the building who are not a part of the Ramsey County. Of course, it's up to their department to pay for them.
How many people do you expect?
I don't know. I was just going to send the email out after if there was approval of here.
What do you usually get?
I think last time was like 40 people. It was nice. It was a good amount of employees.
Roughly.
Yep.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the cost of the cards. All's in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Chris. Jason?
I sent you guys information as we go through. We'll start with 2 hours steel, 96 across the 572-inch by 40 pipe. That's 64,770. So that's for that machine over.
So moved.
So we have a motion and we have a second to order the 5 culverts, correct?
Correct.
All's in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The next one was the 2 hours steel for the 6 on-street crossing. 2 culverts in at 16 mil. Right.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second to approve the two culverts for 16,839.40. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
You know, give us the invoice for the 26th of my phone. It's 100% completed. This amount is for $3,500.
Off with my folder. So that amount is $3,580. And those thin lift overlay projects are the Prairie Road, Woods Rutten Road, Brockett Road, and Ramsey County 4 from Ramsey County 8 to North Dakota 17. Asking for a motion to pay KLJ the $35.80.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Frith,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Volk.
Aye. You got that amount, right? 35.80?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
Close progressive 6 estimate. Asking for a motion for the chairman to sign that. I laid that with Candy there. And also to pay the estimate of $24,812.27. This is the final payment or the final progressive estimate for the 89th Avenue South Minnewaca project, and then I will submit that for reimbursement.
So this is final payment or final estimate?
Well, yeah, final payment.
Yeah, because I just see it.
Yeah, they call them progressive estimates. I don't know. Paul could probably answer that, but yeah,
Okay,
but it is the final.
great, thank you.
Final.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second to pay the final amount for $24,812.27. Roll call, please.
Frith,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Volk.
Aye.
And just again, that one is 100% reimbursed through the North Dakota DOT. So that's that. For close construction, we also have the final acceptance and review for the 89th Avenue project agreement there. Candy has that too. It's the last page of that for the chairman to sign. So I'm asking for a motion to get that signed, please.
So.
We got a motion and we got a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The next one, blading contracts and rates. Like I say, it's probably gonna take some time to go through some of that. I put a rough draft together for you guys. I would like to send out as in a letter. I would like to get our blading contracts back to within 6 times with the townships. We got some townships requesting certain roads to be done 24 times in a summer. Some townships want their whole township done 12 times in a summer. And it's just gotten out of hand with the amount of, we just don't have that time with vacations and weather and all kinds of things. You know, we're reimbursing at the end of the year because we're not meeting our contracts. And then at some point, we hear a lot about our quality of blading. Well, when all you got to do is time to drive and drag your rocks across. So that's what those maps are for you guys there, to see what a couple of the districts look like. And then the amount of times they want their roads done along with that. And then there's a schedule there. And I know we had talked originally to handle this with my portfolio holders, but being an election year, I figured we should maybe talk about it as a board in case we don't have the same returning portfolio holders.
Jason, over the past, how many have we guaranteed? 10 years ago?
It was 6.
6?
It was 6. And you could shift a road. If you wanted to only do 3 miles 3 times, we could take that 3 miles and another 3 miles and maybe do that 9. But then it's just increasingly gotten to be more and more and more. And we're just spread so thin. We got motor graders coming up on 7,000 hours and they're not due for replacing for till 29. We're going to be buying warranty and contracts. They don't sit still.
Townships have the money to pay for this grading?
Well, we do it for half price, so they do have the money to do it. We're losing half the. We spend about $600,000 grading in a year, and we take in about 300,000, 310. So that's why I also put in there'll be a rate increase, and then get the number of bladings under control. Like I say, the portfolio holders and I can get together, but I do think everybody should be aware of what we're talking about. If you look on those schedules, we're trying to do 2 townships in a week. Think about blading an entire township, let alone 2 in a week's time, 4 days, 5 days. That doesn't give you a lot of time to do a lot of blading.
Have these increased over the years, Jason?
Yes, they have. There's certain situations where I was looking through some of them, and we have some one township road in specific. I'm not going to go into it here, but 24 times every week over the summer. It's a half-mile road, and their contract price is $700 because it's a half a mile, and then it's times 2 into that $310 a mile thing. So it needs to be fixed before we go into the next blading cycle.
You indicated in your letter that some townships are doing their own.
We have several that have started to do. Creel Township has a motor grader hired outside of our services. They pay for the 6, and then they have them on call. Noonan Township up there, it's Noonan off the top of my head. Thomas Otis. Anyway, they bought a motor grader. Yeah. North Creel, they have pull type. That someone does it. I don't know if they get paid for it or not, but they certainly could. More and more, we're one of the last counties in North Dakota that does township contract blading. But we do it as a favor. We understand that. That's why we public service, and that's why we can't charge them what it's fully costing, but we also can't be just taken advantage of and bleed time and money on it either, in my opinion. So it's some food for thought, and like I say, I still want to get together with Mr. Wilhelmy and Mr. Hodis and go into more detail, show them all 6 districts.
So when does this have to be decided on? Maybe
In March, we send them by mid-March. So like I say, this was just to
we
get,
just want this for
that's just a couple, yeah, and I didn't know how much, like I say, the whole board, I know that we had talked about this before, and we agreed I'd work with the portfolio holders, but with that possibly maybe not changing or maybe changing, I figured it should be something that everybody's aware of come fall. Because every time, if you try to go back on something, it's going to be heartburn from it.
So do we just want to put that as a table item?
I would like to, till there's more conversation we can have with, I can meet with Mr. Wilhelmy and Mr. Hodis anyway.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a motion to table that.
I'd move table it till our first meeting in March.
Oh, second.
So we got a motion, we got a second, the table. What we're gonna do with the contracts and bring it back here. All's in favor by saying aye.
I
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. The 5-door building, we did receive 2 quotes. We reached out to a couple contractors and got a couple quotes. I got them with you guys there. We got one, corrected one today. He did without floor heat at first, and then with. They both came in under 100,000. It's a 48 by 120 building with all the plumbing. That's not the boiler. That's just them doing it. There's a few discrepancies in them. One of them has a footing. One of them's pouring pads under the loft. There's a few things in them. You guys have those to look at. I don't know if we're really ready to move tonight on there again. I don't really know if we're ready to move on with that or not. I was going to ask if you guys feel we should, if you guys are comfortable with me moving on with that, or if you wanted me to take some more time and gather some more quotes.
I'd like to see it, clarified with you and making sure that everything is in there that, hey, you're requiring or needing.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't want to throw numbers out here of what was submitted tonight until we give the opportunity for everybody to get their right numbers in there.
I'll be honest with you, I like the breakdown of the one.
Yep.
I mean, it broke down everything they're gonna do. So if there was something that we did not wanna do, we could
We
say,
can-
okay, we want this, but we don't want that.
And that's where I was at too. Like I say, when you only get them today, it's hard. So I would have, if I'd have had the time to just remove it from the agenda, I would have, but I already had to put it in there. So
But as far as the bids look, I don't think you're gonna see much difference no matter who bids it. It's just the
Right.
breakdown is nice. Of the reason I like the breakdown is because when we get done with the project, you can hold them accountable for what they were giving us as a service.
I agree.
Yep.
I totally agree on that. So like I say, I would have removed it, but we already had it in there. So for tonight, for the next meeting,
I would move that we table this until the next meeting as well.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second to table the bids until next meeting for more clarification. All's in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I threw some FYI in there quick for you guys. We put carpet tiles in the shop. The guys did that themselves. We got the wall built for Brent's office. We can enclose our records and files now, so that office can be locked up when there's no one present, so it's not just a wide open space. We got that done. They sheetrocked that. They did a nice job. They did all the work in house. We just had to buy materials. That turned out very nice. Looks very good. Proud of those guys for doing that. Saved us a few dollars in install, obviously. The next thing was we got a request for a culvert for Ramsey County for the thin lift overlay project. There's a rusted out culvert, and I'm gonna go to the water board. It's on Fancher Triumph 5 and Fancher 33. It's a 48-inch culvert. I had Paul look at it, and it looks like it should be a 54-inch culvert in there instead. So I have I just emailed John Martinson and the water board this afternoon about this information. Since we're looking to upsize it, it's got to go, I want to go through them for their recommendation.
What was it? Fancher 5 and
Triumph 5, Fancher 33, I believe. It's right around the curve on, maybe I have the townships flipped off the top of my head. I don't think I brought the printout with. Paul looked at it for us from KLJ, and he's the one who gave me the sizings. 48-inch works, but it's not the 25-year flow. And being it's a county road, it should be at a 25-year event for the flow. So we'll go to the water board and make sure that they're okay with that. So after that, I'll be back. But just so you guys are heads up if you hear it being discussed that we're looking at. Then we'll have to get that slammed in as soon as frost comes out. So we're ready for our overlay and we're out of the way. And I think that's as far as, unless you guys have something. I got a few things with Paul. We were gonna. Yeah. Did I? We're pretty good. Oh, I was gonna talk a little bit about. We've had some questions with this Olson shop condos come up in the last few days about like their purpose. We've kind of talked this around here a few times. Concerns maybe with the road and what they're actually going to do with it. I've emailed with Paul's like back in November asking him what he thought of the strength density of the road. The road I think is okay by what we can gather. I mean, we don't know what their plans are. I emailed them today and I got a pretty vague we're going to look to target small businesses. I just said, what's your intention? What are we putting in there for business? What are we targeting? Because, we're putting $500,000 into our bike path that runs right across the south end of this road, which is half a mile from where this proposed. So if you start adding, we got 4 crosswalks on number 1. Are we going to use number 1? Are we going to see the volume traffic increase there? We have concerns, but they're not sharing a whole lot of information on what's proposed. I think they're looking at getting it built, and then I suppose whoever wants to buy them.
whether or not there'd be an increased traffic volume or
Right. We don't know,
limits or different
Yeah.
things like that. Yep. Yeah.
We can
Approaches would be and
protect the road by just that. Like you say, Commissioner, we can throw load limits on there and ask for some enforcement of that if it becomes a truck center, but that still doesn't, that Ramsey County 1 and Walleye Drive is a super busy intersection the way it is, especially at 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
5 o'clock at night. There's no turn lanes there and things like that. I don't know what they're proposing to do, but they're talking a lot of units in that space. So is the traffic all gonna flow to the north to 19, or is people are gonna go south? I mean, it's just,
Whether it's 19 or Walleye Drive, they would have to put turning lanes in if it produces traffic.
and then on like I say, then down on number 1, if that's the case, what's that gonna do to our new pathway and things like that? Because you're gonna have to widen approaches, and so we're gonna stay on them in the next few days here because I think the city's coming to a decision on this thing pretty quick. So I'm gonna be more persistent again tomorrow and just keep hammering, trying to get some answers of. They got to know what
I think their planning committee meets on Thursday morning.
the city.
Yep, the city's planning commission is meeting Thursday morning and gonna decide on finalization of this approval of this project, I think.
As far as construction of the approaches and things like that, they're in their proposed plans they gave us. They're planning on following DOT specifications for those types of things and spacing and that. That part looks okay. It's just all these other questions that are arising from concerned people, like what's the plan and how much traffic and what if we do this and so there's some questions to be answered. Hopefully they get us some answers.
I definitely want to have a control on it so it doesn't happen like what happened to us out east of town.
Right.
And I don't know,
It's a lot smaller area, but
when it falls in this 2-mile radius, I'm not even sure how this works. Is that do we have a lot of say in this?
Not really.
So
It all falls under the city's 2-mile extraterritorial,
that's what it is.
but it's still our road, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys would like me to share those concerns or get those to somebody on the board. I think Elizabeth Black is on the board for that. Maybe I could reach out to her and have her ask some questions or.
Well, if and I know Thursday is probably going to be extremely busy for you and your crew, but if you would have time to maybe sit in on that meeting and ask some of these
Sure.
questions.
Yeah, I'd just like to know, so we can come back with what we know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
That'd be very good.
All right, we'll gather some information and we will see you in 2 weeks.
thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll have Sam Treblecock on Teams for the floodplain ordinance and resolution.
Okay, now try it, Sam.
Okay, can you hear me now? Try one more time. You can hear me?
We can hear you. We're just going to adjust the volume up a little bit in the room.
Sure. Right, well, good evening. This is Sam Treblecock, Houston Engineering, working through the floodplain ordinance. I've been working with Chris Jager. As you guys know, I was in November and we were talking about some of the updates. So I've done some of this introductory information already, but I know we certainly wanted to go through the ordinance tonight. Sounds like you guys are ready to kind of get into the meat of it. There's a couple reasons. Obviously, with the update of the comprehensive plan, we had a plan to update it and take it to the next model. Second of all is requirement right now through the state of North Dakota and FEMA that it be updated. So we're doing things coming together for that matter. I don't know if you guys could see my screen. I can certainly share it, or what you guys have. I sent out 2 sets of information. One was showing the changes, and so it was kind of the stricken and track changes, and then there was another clean copy, so I'll be referring to both of those, and I'm not going to go through it by any means line by line, but I want to make sure you guys understand what we're doing here. Do you want me to share my screen, or would you be able to see it at all? You won't be able to. Okay. So we'll just kind of take you through it. So first of all, that one of the documents that you have would then be showing the track changes. And so you look at the statutory authorization section 1.1. One of the most important features right there is that needs to be changed to reflect Senate Bill 2027's changes. So that's one of the main reasons we need to do this. But obviously, we're also doing it to take it to the next Model D level. So you can see throughout the document, there's a lot of references in yellow that talk about Ramsey County. Of course, that's just filling in the blanks and who's administering it. In this case, it's County Commissioner Ramsey County. There's also some changes in green that you might see. Those changes are specific to Ramsey County. You guys have some areas of special consideration. You have a close basin lake that other counties don't have. So we included that as part of this floodplain ordinance. So one of the main changes from the last time, there's not very many at all really, that's significant, is when you look in the floodproofing section of the definitions, it says 2 feet above. It was 1 feet before in your last or your current ordinance. So just something to keep in mind. So going from Model C to Model D is a little different there. So I'm going to keep going. I don't know if you guys can follow along. You get into section 3. I think this is important. 3.1, lands to which this ordinance applies. So in this case, very different than what you have right now. The ordinance applies to all special flood hazard areas within the jurisdiction of Ramsey County, except the land within the city of Devils Lake and its extraterritorial area. So before, you didn't have jurisdiction to the townships, in large part because of Senate Bill 2027. That specifically comes to you unless the count or the townships ask for it. And I don't know if anybody has yet, but otherwise your ordinance would apply to any township that has those special flood hazard areas. Any questions there so far? I think that's a good place to pause.
Sam, this is Daniel Howell. I just wanted to jump in and ask your understanding with Senate Bill 2027. I think you said 2027.
Yep.
The presumption is now that the power lies with the county for floodplain regulation. Is that
Correct.
requiring townships to renew any assertions that have previously been made, or any ordinances that are currently on the books with townships, or is it essentially nullifying those?
It's just the floodplain ordinances. So
Sure.
in that particular case, yeah, it's just that they can still, just like you said, the presumption, and the base comes to the county rather than the other way around, where it was with the townships to begin with. So it starts with the counties unless the township comes through, and they first have to ask for basically saying, hey, we intend to do this. It's like a resolution of intent. And then once they do that, then they have to adopt their own ordinance. And then that area, that township would go to its own floodplain ordinance, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay. So, I don't know. Just in case you guys can't see this, I'm going to keep going. But 3.2, again, some changes in green there. You might see there, it's just specific to your areas of special consideration that you have with the Devils Lake area. So we included that in there, which was approved, and it was certainly fine. It should be,
because you have that. And you can see anything in yellow, we're just filling in the blanks to make sure here the Ramsey County Floodplain Administrator would be responsible for the development permits. So administration is indicated by the Ramsey County Floodplain Administrator throughout. Making that point, and now we're moving into the same thing with variance procedures at 4.4. The county commission is established to hear appeals. So you're the appeals board, the county commission is. Certainly shoot any questions as I kind of keep going through this. I just want to make sure we cover everything. There's another section, 5.2 -1, residential construction, where that's elevated to at least 1 foot above the base flood elevation. I think that's similar. That's similar to what you have now. But when you get into 5.2 -2 non-residential, it's be flood proof to at least 2 feet above base flood elevation, which is 1 foot additional than you have now. So those are the only two major changes. Plus what I said at the very top, you know, with the township situation and those references to state law. And then you get to the end, and that's about it. Certainly take any of your questions. I will reference, this did go through the National Flood Insurance Program checklist. And the only reference, and this is something we're going to have to correct in the clean copy, is I have it corrected in the other copy I was showing you, but June 20th, 2001 needs to be referenced, and I'll show that here in a second. Need to bounce through. In 3.2, where it says December 20th, 2000, it needs to be changed to June 20th, 2001 in your clean copy. So if you were, when you're going to adopt this, I don't know if you were looking at doing it tonight. If you're doing it tonight, you just have to make a motion to include that change in that copy. So, but beyond that, I would take any questions you guys have.
Sam, this is Daniel Howell again. So section 6 violations, penalties for violations in 6.1. As with any ordinance, it's only as good as its enforcement procedures. So in the models, the Model D ordinance that I think FEMA actually puts out, or maybe it's the National Flood Insurance Program. I'm not quite sure of the differences, but there's a section in the standard ordinance that's remedies for violations that addresses what should happen in the event of a violation being discovered in progress or previously built before being able to be approved or appropriately monitored to make sure it's within the guidelines. Was that left out due to a prior conversation with the Planning and Zoning Committee, or was there some other reason for leaving that out?
That's a good question. It should not have been. It should have been. Let's see, the Model D ordinance final. Let me just check that quick.
I'm looking at the clean version that was sent to me by Commissioner Wilhelmy. I may be looking at an outdated version.
No. So violations. That's the Model D ordinance that I received, unless there's something else that you see in there that you would like to see included. I don't know if what the state sent me is what this should reflect.
Okay.
So if there was something else that you would like to see included or think should be, we can certainly try to include that, send it back to them to see if this is appropriate. It could certainly very well be, just like some of the other changes that we made for, Devil's Lake, closed basin lake, and closed basin lake situations. But what?
And additionally, and it sounds like maybe the version that was sent to you might have been cut off. I don't know, because there's also a section 7 for amendments. And it doesn't appear that the ordinance as presented doesn't address what an amendment procedure would look like or how one would go about amending this ordinance.
Yeah, and if you want to see if you think there's some specific things that should still be included, or there's some things within, we can certainly work through those few things. We have some time yet, but I would say you want to try to get to this, by March. But you guys are, you certainly want to make sure you're doing it right. But I can kind of show you what I received from the state, and then maybe we can compare notes from what you're looking at.
I think that would be good. I think the ordinance as written is ready to go, other than those two things that I see that are of substantial difference. Just so the commission is aware, the specific section that I'm worried about and is relevant here in Ramsey County is remedies for violations. If any building or structure is erected, constructed, reconstructed, altered, repaired, converted, or maintained, or if any building, structure, or land is used in violation of this chapter, the proper county authorities or any affected citizen or property owner, in addition to other remedies, may institute any appropriate action or proceedings to prevent such unlawful erection, construction, reconstruction, alteration, repair, conversion, maintenance, or use, to restrain, correct, or abate such violations, to prevent the occupancy of the building, structure, or land, and to prevent any illegal act, conduct business, or use in or about such premises. So that's something that I have seen in other model ordinances. I don't know if that's something the commission is interested in. And additionally, the amendments, it's standard language. No amendment to this agreement shall be effective except upon written occurrence of Ramsey County Board of Commissioners, which is how it would work, whether or not it was in the document anyways. It's just for clarity, if the general public is looking, they know how it might get changed in the future. Otherwise, the ordinance looks good to go as presented. If you don't want those remedies to be in there, we can certainly move forward at this point. But I would request that this ordinance be, well, this has to be in by the 1st of March. Is that what you said, Mr. Treblecook?
I'll have to double check it. I thought it was the end of March, but
Okay.
I can double check that. So
that was my understanding as well. I just wanted to make sure we had our dates correct. If the commission wants me to take a closer look with Mr. Treblecock about the remedies for violations, I think that would be useful, considering we're getting this started, and there's probably some properties around the county that may not comply, and so we'll at least need a process to address those as they come up in the future. Would be my preference and my recommendation to the commission.
Well, yes, I would like that too, because you don't have any teeth in it now, and it's going to come back to haunt us later.
It does have the $500 fine or up to 30 days.
I would like it, like you just said, so that if I was to put something up, or if I was looking to put something up, I know how to come to us or whomever to, if I want to get it so that I can.
Yeah.
Or can't. I want to get it approved before I start putting concrete down or whatever it is.
Right.
Is the base flood elevation defined with a number?
You're gonna have to come up to the mic, Paul. Sorry.
I guess it mentioned a base flood elevation. Is that defined?
It's defined in the floodplain maps that we have.
The different zones,
There is a area in here that says according to the map.
right?
Right. But those are dated, the FEMA maps dated 2001.
It's the best information we have. Yes.
Okay. I don't remember what the base flood elevation was set at on those, but yeah, so I don't know.
So there is a reference for the maps that we have.
Yeah.
So there is a number within each of those maps that
Each of those zones have an elevation on them, the AH and the AE zones and all that kind of thing. It has, within that map, it has an elevation to it.
Do you think it'd be more useful to pick an actual elevation that's a hard number across the board, at least around the lake?
it would be useful, but this ordinance is specific. I mean, there's a way that we could just have it for around the lake, but you're familiar with how it works out here. And we're working with the best information we have and complying with the flood insurance program's requirements.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ordinance we've been directed to use in order to continue to have floodplain insurance for our residents. And if we don't check off the boxes, like Mr. Treblecock was saying, if we don't check those off, we don't qualify.
Got it.
I share your concerns about the practicality of this being applied to Ramsey County.
Sure.
I think you're aware that NFIP, and I think it's FEMA, is currently working on redrawing our maps with some updated information, with some better technology that we might see by 2030.
But then you would be able to revisit
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
because this isn't going to affect what's already there.
Right.
This is going to affect what's coming. And then if, like Mr. Howell's saying, if 2030 was the new information, you would reconstruct this to the 2030 information. So basically then from everything would follow to this from 2026 would go to 2030. I'm just using a number to don't hold it to me.
Right.
And then after that, it would move on. Because
Absolutely.
we got to start somewhere, because that's
Sure.
exactly why this hasn't never been done, because it's never been started. And if we don't do it today or do it before the end of March, where are we going to be? Same
Right.
situation we've been in.
And we are at risk of losing flood insurance for Ramsey County, not having something in place that complies with NFIP's requirements.
Gotcha.
So at least it can give you some kind of guidance.
Sure. Right.
Because right now we have,
Right. Well, you got a
right?
ton of properties that are now protected by the city of Devils Lake's embankments that should be taken out of the floodplain, but
And
that'll be taken. That's why they're updating the maps, right?
Maps.
it will come with the maps, but the city of Devils Lake has its own authority to
Right.
Gotcha.
It says that in here.
plans.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're,
Okay.
we're excluding the city of Devils Lake from this specific plan.
Yeah, it's the city of Devils Lake and its extraterritorial area.
Sure.
Okay.
Good question.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Does this ordinance require a public hearing to be approved?
No, it doesn't. It's not like a zoning ordinance or
Okay.
it doesn't require it. I mean, certainly what you guys are doing here today is a public meeting, but that's all that's required is to have it as on the agenda for your county commission meeting.
I would like Mr. Howell to review this and see if there's more teeth that can be put into it
And bring it back at the next,
and bring it back
so we can have a single
if that's reasonable.
or a vote on it.
Yes, at this point, I'll find a time to meet with Mr. Treblecock, work with him to get a finalized version. I don't believe, unless you would all like for him to be at the next meeting, if I bring it to you with his blessing as well, I think we should be able to move forward at that point. Not to double up his efforts in having to explain this again at a later hearing.
I would agree with that.
Include Mr. Jager on that conversation.
Absolutely.
If you would. If that's okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I've been working with Chris on this all along and want to make sure that he's good with it too. Is there any other questions that you have that you want us to look at in general, as long as we're going to take this additional review? And I think it's good. I think you guys want to do it the right way, the first time.
I don't think we have any more questions, Sam.
Perfect.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll get something updated to you soon.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you.
So do we need to do anything with that, or we're good? We'll just have it next meeting.
I don't know that he asked for a specific motion or anything.
Okay.
I guess you could move to table it for the next meeting.
I think that would be good if we could get a table.
I would so move.
Second.
We got a motion. We got a second to table this flood plan ordinance and resolution for the next meeting for a finalized copy. All's in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Unfinished business, nothing. New business. Approve abatements.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the abatements. All's in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All's opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to home rule charter.
So I guess I will go ahead and kick things off with the home rule charter. I want to thank the committee members that took the time to be a part of that process. They did a lot of homework and a lot of due diligence, bringing forward in my opinion, what I was looking at from a commission standpoint is something really simple, straight to the point, and easy to understand. And Mr. Hall kind of put his legalese onto it, and I think it conforms to the state law, and looking for commissioners' approval to move this forward. I think it has a deadline of the end of March in order to get it on the June ballot for voter approval. And we do have members of the Ramsey County Home Rule Charter Committee present with us. Vice Chairman Brandon Padilla, Representative Corey Wass, and Jamie Nieheis is all available. And if they would want to come up and share some of their comments in the process that they went through in being a part of the committee and why we went with what we went with. So Brandon, if you want to start things off. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. Name's Brandon Padilla. I joined this or accepted to join the home rule committee because I didn't understand the home rule charter and what all it had in it. And I was kind of skeptical of it at first, but I think through the series of meetings over the last 2.5 to 3 months, I think what we have set forward here in helping with a certain part of the budget for the public safety, I think it's something easy that residents will be able to understand. Just me looking at it and not knowing much about anything, I guess, I couldn't find anything in there where I felt like we were trying to hide something, and it can be pretty spelled out pretty easy. I thought this was going to be a 6 to 10 page document to read through, and you can see in Daniel's work we got it to 3 pages. So I guess if there's any questions of you guys, we'd be happy to take them. And I'd also let Jamie and Corey come up and let you know what their thoughts are on it as well.
Hello. That's louder than I like to be, and I'm pretty loud. I also joined the committee, or accepted the opportunity to join the committee because I wanted to understand it better and was a little bit concerned about what home rule exactly meant. Learned a lot through the process, and I think we all gave it a lot of deliberation, did a lot of reading. Found out that what it's actually allowing us to do as the county, it's allowing the county to find another way to fund some things that we need that isn't always about property tax, so that we can share that burden across other people who come through our community, including people who come to fish and hunt and do all of those things, as well as share with perhaps people who are not landowners in the same way that maybe our homeowners and our farmers are. So it was an opportunity for us to look at that. I think we found something that, like Brandon said, is pretty simple. It applies to very specific things. It's 1%. It's for to help maintain law enforcement services, as well as hopefully at some point improve our law enforcement infrastructure. So I think it can be something that can be, hopefully will be supported by the members of our county. Like I said, was very skeptical and feel that this is a better way to share those expenses. So thank you.
I had the same experience as the other guys. I walked into the first meeting. I had absolutely no idea what I was in tune for. I had nothing. I was like, I don't even know what a home rule charter is. I never researched it, never heard of it. Kevin did a very nice, or Jeff, excuse me, did a very nice job of explaining what the goal was. And after leaving the first meeting, I went home and I thought, I like the idea of what we're trying to do. It seemed like a good way to help fund, as Jamie said, the public funding for our law enforcement. I mean, to help public safety, it's a good thing. Take the burden off of landowners, homeowners, pass it on to people that travel through town. They're using our law enforcement, they're using our public safety, and they have no burden for it. Why not tax them a little bit? It's 1%, like we discussed in the meetings. You go out to eat, it's $100, it costs you $1. Is anybody going to notice? Probably not. I didn't think it was a bad deal. I thought it was pretty good. I think it's pretty simple. It's straightforward. The goal was to keep it simple so everybody would understand it, not look at it like, I don't understand what's going on. And when it happens, people look at it and they throw it away and they vote no. It never has a chance. Kept it simple. It's really easy to understand. Hopefully other people agree. It's all I got.
Thank you. And again, Adam Lightbon and Shane Hammer are also members of the Home Rule Committee. They're unable to be here tonight. But I just want to thank everybody that participated in that committee. I thought, when they first agreed to be on it, they weren't all slam dunks in favor of something, but they came together and came up with a plan that I think is very reasonable. And like they all mentioned, that it's meant to utilize sales tax receipts to go and help fund public safety departments within the county. And those public safety departments are our state's attorney's office, our sheriff's department, and our incarceration, our county jail. And as we all know, over the past 10, 15 years, those expenses have, just blown up tremendously. I think this year, we're close to about $5 million for the three different entities. And so this would help offset that and hopefully help reduce property taxes along the way.
The intent is not to have the commission make a decision today. Obviously, you can if that is what you decide to do. This is more of a submission to the commissioners to have a chance to review a chance to ask any questions of the members of the committee, and to hopefully make a decision prior to the deadline to get it on the primary ballot, which is, I believe, April 6th. Is that right, Candy?
Yes.
Okay. So the last regular meeting would be our second meeting in March that we would be able to get this in on. Otherwise, it would have to wait until the general election to be placed on the ballot. Otherwise, these home rule charters cannot be considered outside of an election year. So the committee was hopeful that this would be approved by the commission. They think it's a good plan, and I just recommend making a decision one way or the other by the last meeting in March so that it can be placed on the ballot if that's what the commission chooses. Or it can also be sent back to the committee if there are things that the commission would like to be addressed. Not that the committee has to make any changes as presented. The commission is not obligated to forward this on to the voters of Ramsey County for a vote. If the commission ultimately decides that's not the direction that they want Ramsey County to go in. There's a lot of information that goes into home rule charter. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about various different capacities, facets of home rule. So please reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me an email. Commissioner Brown, I believe you should have my office's number. If you need to make contact with me with any questions, you're more than welcome to.
No, I don't.
Okay. So I don't believe anybody is seeking any specific action from the commission, but that's all I have for you. Thank you.
And certainly welcome any questions that anybody would have. Oh.
Anybody have any questions? I guess.
You said we had side by 1 April.
The last meeting in March, since the deadline to get it on the primary ballot is April 6th. And we don't meet, the commission does not meet until after April 6th in April. So a special meeting could be called to have it put on the ballot if that's what the commission wanted to do.
We can't do anything without the other commissioner here, so.
This was just approved tonight at the committee's last meeting, just shortly before the commission. So this was genuinely just to get it to you so you had time to review, digest, and hopefully come to next month's meetings with some good questions and some good discourse.
So with this home rule, the one that we have in front of us, this is a 1% forever, right?
Yes.
Because I don't see anything in the sunset.
There is no sunset provision. One was discussed within the committee.
So what stops a home rule? I agree with the 1% for public safety, but what stops home rule from coming in, putting another 1% on, putting another 1% on, putting another 1% on, and pretty soon we're at 10%.
It all has to be voter approved.
So it has to go on a ballot every time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The reason why we didn't sunset as well is going with the so targeting out public safety as our main use for as our use for the 1% was because realistically, unless the state comes out with some programs or the feds come out with some programs, that'd be the only other way that this would be able to be we'd be able to get help with it. And I don't know, I think everybody sitting here has seen the willingness of the state to help in these areas. But that was kind of our thoughts on it. And then if we kept it on, the committee would also be able to use that to
I was just,
push towards other
was just-
things too.
I mean,
So
you answered the question
Yep.
as far as why it wasn't sunsetted. And I,
yeah,
because of what it would be used
Mhm.
for.
Mhm.
I mean, and yeah,
And one other part that might also, Article 4 is about amendments, repeal, and termination. It can be amended or repealed by proposal of the board or by petition bearing signatures of qualified voters, at least equal in number to 15%. We wanted to make that high enough that we didn't have, this coming up every other month. Somebody wanted to repeal it, but low enough that it was possible to do. And I think we did a little bit of math and came up with a number that, if somebody wanted to go out and ask that a repeal be put on the ballot, you could collect that number of signatures and it could be repealed.
And just for example, in the last election, there in Ramsey County, there were 3,671 voters in Ramsey County for that position. And so 15% of that number would be 550 voters
for the petition.
Yeah. To get it amended.
That's fair. Any other questions?
I have a question on the number 4. The dedication of tax revenue. You have July 1 through June 30th. Is that?
I think the intent is for it to track with our budgeting cycle so that we have
Okay.
good current numbers.
So budgeting cycle for the county is January to December. The state is
July 1.
July 1 to June 30th.
So honestly, I don't know how that messes with your own
I just,
calculation. That is what has been used across the board, and since this is administered by the tax commissioner, my understanding is that it just tracks with the state's processes and procedures. I can certainly meet with you, Candy, to figure out what exactly that might do to us realistically if it is passed this way. The committee can certainly come back together and make those amendments if
because if you're going to do things on a budget, a budget is January to December.
Yeah, because for instance, if I see Candy's thing, let's say 1%, all of a sudden is $1 million. I'm just using numbers. It's not never going to happen that way, but without a budget, how do you spend it? You can't just freewheel this just wide open.
and that is part of what the commission would be in control of how exactly is this going to be administered as long as it's administered towards public safety. For instance,
So that's where the 5 votes comes in
yes,
of how that money would be spent.
yes,
Okay.
how that's administered during the budgetary process as per usual. It's money available to the
Makes
county. One of
Like I said, it's just not a pot of money, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you need some. That's not what this is used for.
not specifically, if the commission wanted to structure it that way, certainly could. Sounds like that's not likely to happen. But one of the ways it was envisioned is for the first year, the sales tax coming in just so that there's a better idea of what exactly that would be. And then using the prior year's sales tax to offset budgets going into the next budgetary cycle is one of the ways that it could be used. But certainly, this is why we wanted this to come before the commission. I can,
And I think that's why Candy. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand Candy's point of view
Absolutely.
of January to December. Because if it's July to June, it throws the budget off.
Sure.
It could.
And the money comes in monthly, so it would be regular dispensation from the tax commissioner monthly.
Right.
So we would know what is going to come in every month. It's not something that comes in a chunk at the end of the year. Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So
But-
it's,
We don't know the number.
Correct. And so the thought of having it,
But what I'm saying is budget wise, I mean, I'm just trying to think of when we did the for the lodging, I believe that we had did we not have a starting date of when that went into effect?
I thought they go into effect after the vote of a home rule charter sales tax goes
This
into effect January 1.
this wouldn't go into effect until passed by the voters of the county and the commission actually resolving to impose the 1%, and then the sales tax would not go into effect until January 1 at the very earliest
Right.
of the following year. So of 2027 if it passed this year.
And if logistically it makes more sense for those dates to be different, I don't think the committee is opposed to discussing that in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
We understand why those dates are in there because of the state's revenue cycle. But if your revenue cycle or the county's revenue cycle is different, obviously we need to address the logistics of that.
Mhm. Yeah. Just something to
yeah,
check into.
otherwise, I think it reads well.
What'd you say, Blaine?
It reads well.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear.
And worried about a date, I think, yeah, the county commission, determine when it starts July 1 or when it starts.
Sure.
That's what I would think. The state sets their precedents on when they want to start things. If this is just gonna be Ramsey County, well, it'd be up to the county commission to decide what day to start. I would think.
Well, I think it's spelled out in Century Code. Once it's voted on and passed, and the commission resolves to approve it, then it goes into effect that January. You can't start it before that. So if we approved it in June and we decided as a county, we'd have to wait until January in order for it.
Code says.
Yeah.
Yes. But it could be any date after that January 1st.
Right.
We can set those parameters however we so choose.
And they do that so that you have time to put it into effect. I'm sure
Theoretically.
there's a reason for it. So we're just gonna table this until all the commissioners are here and okay. We have a motion to do that.
So, second.
We have a motion. We have a second to table this until next meeting. All those in favor by saying aye.
I
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda, discussion on new LEC location.
So we had a discussion, we had mentioned, that the city was interested in whether or not we'd be interested in a public safety facility at the Western Finance location. We had the LEC's architecture put a footprint on that and realized that it's by far too small of a location. There's no room for growth or parking or different things like that. So, and we from a county, I think there was myself and Commissioner Volk in attendance at that. We said, no, that's not going to work, and we want to keep our sheriff with the jail facility. That it makes perfect sense. And so what we did is we took a look at some other parcels that we've been looking at. There's 3 different suggestions or alternatives that we looked at. One of them is west of the industrial park on the south side of the highway. One is over at Senex East by the Travel Plaza over there. Senex has some property that we have a willing seller. And the other was south of town. And we don't have confirmation from the seller whether or not they'd be willing to sell or not. So, but all three locations have ample space. The price that was being asked for on the property in the West Industrial Park area works out to be about 25 cents a square foot. But it's almost 43 acres that's being looked at for sale, and the landowner doesn't want to parcel that out. So that's something that the law enforcement center would be in ownership of. We would only need about 15, 20 acres at the most. We could then either subdivide the rest of that area out or leave it for agricultural purposes and rent it out for cash rent which was currently being done. It's that parcel there that Candy has up on the map. And that's just about 43 acres. That parcel there, and talk to the landowner. They are a willing seller in that. The difficulty that I have with that particular parcel is that there's no infrastructure there, no roads, streets, water, sewer, different things like that. It'd be close by with the industrial park being over there. But you'd have to put all that type of infrastructure in on that particular property. The other property that is over at the Senex Travel Plaza is about less than 10 acres. I think there's 5 parcels there. And a total of 412,409 square feet approximately. This is just done freehand off of the drawing tools that we have within Parcel Viewer. The seller would like $2.50 a square foot. More expensive, obviously, than the property west of town. But this area would be full of water, sewer, power, things like that would be required and needed. One of the downsides that I feel with this particular parcel, has a WAPA power line through it. WAPA is willing to work with us and redesign, put a different power pole structure in there, and just have the one pole instead of the 2-pole facility that they currently have running through there. But they're unwilling to relocate the line. So
They are willing? No.
they're unwilling. So the line would stay running through there, but they would redesign the poles that are running through there. I think right now it's a 2-pole setup. One of the issues that potentially would, if the landowner would come into agreement with the area south of town, is it's extremely low. The area over there, I think, running anywhere from 1435, 1440 elevation. So you'd have a lot of water table issues in that particular area, I think, especially with the dike being so close by and all that type of issue. So I'm not sure if that would be a viable option for us, depending on how much fill would be required to be put in there and different things like that. In that particular area, you'd also be looking at a lot of infrastructure that would need to be placed in there. And obviously it would be more, attractive to the landowner if that area would be able to be pushed back away from the highway. Highway, obviously, corridor would be the most attractive for, their purposes for, reselling it, the resale value of it. So if you go back further, towards the dike area, you're going to run into, I think, more water issues, and you'd have longer distances for roads and other infrastructure that would be required.
And we don't know if this is a willing seller or not on this piece.
Right. They had to consult with family members. It's within a family type of situation. When we brought it up with the Law Enforcement Center Board, they thought that bring it up with the Ramsey County Commission, that it's going to be located within our county. We should be the ones that kind of choose the location. And so those are some of the different options that we've been looking at.
Anybody have any questions on the properties that were shown? My personal opinion, I think the property over by Senex, it's going to be a tough sell to the public.
I think it's going to be a tough sell to the public regardless of where we put it. But I think you're right. I think that would be a tough sell to the public being right there. I think it's, a lot of prime real estate in that area. Right now they're all zoned for the purposes of that we could utilize. The area by Senex East is zoned commercial. The area south of Devil's Lake and west of town are all agriculturally zoned. So,
And you use 10 acres? Is that what you use?
Well, we could use 10. That's what's on the Senex East area. Obviously, with more area, you could expand, have the opportunity for expansion further down the road. One of the things, the issues that we currently have is that we're landlocked. We have no room for expansion where we're currently at. We'd have no room for expansion at the Western Finance spot.
Funding it would be pretty much county or
Funding it's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a bond issue that we would probably bring forth to the voters sometime at the general election in November. I don't think it'd be ready for to sell to the public before then. But similar to a home rule charter, we can't go with a bond election other than primary and general elections.
Right.
So that was a recent change as well within the legislature. So waiting an additional 2 years may not be an option for the law enforcement center. It's still in good working order, but we could be one broken pipe away from sending our inmates somewhere else, and that would be incredibly expensive. Everybody in the state is running out of jail space, and so the state itself is looking for expansion for correctional facilities, and whether or not there'd be any state help for a regional facility such as ours is maybe a big ask, something that we'd certainly have to bring towards the legislature next session. But I think it's something worth pursuing. Last time
years are there.
last time we were there and we were unsuccessful in that endeavor, but try again, is the kind of the motto on these things. So if we don't start today, we'll be that much further behind. Any opinions on locations, or if you have any other alternative locations that sure if you were a part of those discussions, anything you want to share or
At the last police board meeting, the consensus was that they wanted Ramsey County Commissioner to basically pick a spot because it's going to be here. And I think looking down the road long term, I think some of them got the idea that it's probably going to get turned over to us at some point. So they just assume that our commission kind of picks a spot so we can move forward. And out of the spots, logistically, at the travel center, would kind of be nice because our partners with the PD, they might have a chance to look at that, to be part of that in the building. I think if we take it outside of town, we're not going to have that partnership. So it's kind of give and take. So, but I think the board is open for anything or just looking for, excuse me, for some direction from Ramsey.
Something that frustrates me, Sheriff, on when you talk about outside the city. What frustrates me is any one of these locations is really not outside the city. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll tell us that it's outside the city, but yet when it comes down to it, they want control of the 2 mile or 5 mile or whatever the heck it is. So when I hear that, they come back and say, well, you're going to be outside the limits. Then why do you have the control of the 2 mile limit? Why do you say that? Because that's a perception to the people that doesn't look well.
well, does their police department patrol in the 2 mile extraterritorial, or is that left up to the sheriff's department?
They do some out there in the industrial park, but most of the time it's county.
And I think sheriff's right. I think there's an opportunity for some give and take with the city. They haven't closed that door completely. We've kind of opened up a little bit with some of the discussions with their police department wanting to move downtown or build a new facility, whether it be downtown or others. Hey, so my offer to the city, and should probably get commission approval on this, but I offered them, take the money that you're going to allocate for a new police department. Hey, bring it to us for a new law enforcement center. Come under our umbrella, our roof. We all be in there together, sheriff's department, police department, currently like we are, a one-stop cop shop, so to speak. And we'd take that money and then utilize that and not charge them a fee or a rental fee for the facility. And for the duration of the facility or for a 30-year time period, if you take $4 million over a 30-year time period, that's $120,000 annually. Whether or not they would buy into something like that, I'm not sure. Whether or not we would buy into something like that, I'm not sure. But that's the offer I made to them, and that's something that they're probably having the same discussion over at their meeting currently right now, is they were going to bring something like that up to their board and see what their commission thought about the same proposal, same idea. And
And my thing is, if that's something that they propose, which they kind of said they were, and if they were game into doing that, then it would be nice to know where they would like to put it. Because when it comes down to it, if we got to get the people's vote, right? Obviously, we'd have to get the people's vote to fund this.
Right.
You're going to have both places in a piece of pie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to say which area tonight we would like to go without knowing what their intent.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going with that.
Hey.
With the sheriff is, if their intent isn't to come with, then let's just make a decision of what's best for the county. But if their intent is to come with, then let's make a decision that's best for both entities.
Correct.
And that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
You know, with the 2 mile radius thing.
No, and I don't think that we need to pin down a decision tonight on a location, but I wanted to bring it up for discussion so it's out there, so we all know about where we're looking, what the law enforcement center is looking at, and what the city's potentially looking at as well.
And I think that's fair. At least we need to know as both entities are going to be on board.
Right.
If it's something that, like Jeff said, if they're willing to put the $4 million up, okay, now are we as a commission sitting here today willing to work with that? If that was something that would happen, I mean, we all know we are not getting a lot of help from the state, obviously. So we're going to have to get help somewhere. And then is that a help to get the buy-in from the public? Now you have the city putting up some money. Obviously, we're going to be having to help. And if this was to go through, can it happen? And that makes way more sense if all 3 items could come together. To me, it makes way more sense of how you could actually get this facility to work. You know, but how do we get all 3 to come together?
Right.
That's the big question, I think.
Yep. 100%. You nailed it. So.
Funding is key.
Funding will be the key. Specialized facilities like this don't come cheap, and but we could operate a new facility a lot more efficiently, a lot more cost effective, and safer for everybody involved, inmates, staff. Everybody would be in a safer facility. Commissioner Wilhelmy or Commissioner Volk's been down to see the new facility in India and do that comparison of how they operate and seeing the efficiency of those new jails and how they're operated would be a tremendous benefit for our community.
So my question is, what would you guys like to do with what was asked as far as the location? Is it something, again, I know we have a lot of things that we're tabling for next meeting, but at least we could see what's going to come out from the city. They're over there having their meeting as we are. And then whatever happens there kind of can set the next stage of what may need to happen.
I would agree with that. I think as many partners as we can have in this, the better, if we can make that work. So,
Well, and I know they're in need of wanting a facility of some kind to better fulfill their needs also.
Right.
There's no question Ramsey County wants a facility better to fulfill the needs, and so does the city. There's no doubt that we're both on the same page when it comes to that.
And coming into it before it's designed, it gives them an opportunity to help with that design to meet their needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then it's not, well, you built it. No, it doesn't
Right.
fit our needs. Where,
Yeah.
we had some skin in the game to make it fit our needs. But at least in the
Yep.
morning when we go to LAC, they know that we have consensus of, we talked about this. And, you know,
The funding is, like I said, it's key.
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
as big as, it's gonna
We're
be.
all hesitant to do it. The city's hesitant to do it because, you know, we all know what their percentage of vote was. They had last year, so.
It's a giant ask, and you know, obviously, it's bigger than what Ramsey County
It is.
uses, but it helps offset the overall cost of maintaining and operating the thing. Because right now we're operating with about 40% of our inmates coming from DOCR, and so that's helping balance the budget and generate some revenue for the facility. We're operating in the black, which is a great thing. And so if we can continue doing that, it'd be a win-win for everybody, I think.
If we didn't have the 40% outside, it would be a hellacious bill for the county.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, have some meetings, I guess.
Yep.
Explore the sites and see what we can come up with.
Right. So as Commissioner Volk mentioned that the LEC meets tomorrow morning, with the impending weather, we've decided to move that via Teams. So we still plan on having the meeting. It'll just be online. So if anybody wishes to have that link and be a part of that meeting, please let me know and we can share that link with everybody.
So we just want to look at next meeting to look at this again.
I think so.
Okay. You guys want to table that, or you just want to leave it to be on the agenda? How would you like to go about that?
Let's make sure we table it so it's on the agenda. So
Okay.
I would move to table the LEC location to the next meeting.
Second,
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the next item, visitors and delegation, or delegations. Anybody? You're not a visitor, no?
This is I went ahead and ordered that evidence tracking. Everything showed up. We got it in our possession. I just need to pay the bill. It's negotiated. Instead of $7,400 and some, we come to $6,450. So I just need a motion to approve that.
so moved.
Second.
We got a motion, we got a second, so we need to pay for this.
Yes.
Roll call, please. Can you give us the number again? 6,000.
$450.
Would you have to give them a right? One of your arms, fingers?
Almost.
Frith,
Yes.
Brown, Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Volk.
Aye.
So I had to. Thank you.
Yep. Hearing nothing else, anything from portfolios?
Airport, we met last week. Everything is going really well out there. Continue to set records. We had another record number of boardings in January. And so we continue to make progress out there with the new terminal and the SkyWest airline services that we're enjoying. So encourage people to look at Devils Lake Airport for all their travel needs.
Thanks, Jeff. Anybody else? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.